Hey, my feel good friend, and welcome to mini-sode 32 of the Feel Good Social podcast. I promised you in last week's mini-sode that I was going to try to show up in the next few weeks with more mini-sodes for y'all, and I am sticking to it for week 2 at least. Today, I am sharing about something that is very much on my heart this week and this past month, the past 3 months, 2 years. And also, I think something that's going to be very, very relevant for a lot of you right now with the state of the world and all the things going on and all of that stuff. Today, we are talking about Instagram anxiety, and I'm sharing 3 things that you can release if you're feeling anxiety when it comes to life and especially showing up online on social media for your business, okay? Because I honestly believe that Instagram is the last thing in the world that should be causing us anxiety, but it does, okay? There's no way around a lot of the information that we see online, us feeling that we need to show up and all the shoulds that we need to be doing and all that different stuff. Instagram causes a lot of us anxiety, right? And there are so many things to be anxious about in life. We don't need to be feeling it when it comes to Instagram, right? So I'm going to be sharing 3 things that you can release if you have been feeling anxiety, specifically around Instagram. And I hope that it's helpful for you. As I said before, really, this is probably an episode that I need to hear myself. And so if you're feeling anxiety, my friend, believe me, I'm with you. I feel you. I just literally finished up my meeting this month with my Feel Good Social Clubbers, our content planning workshop, which I'm actually going to be sharing next week. The behind the scenes sneak peek into our content planning workshop this month. Super awesome. But so many people on our call were overwhelmed. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling overwhelmed, right? And overwhelm is very much sisters with anxiety, if it's not exactly the same thing, right? And so I really think if you are feeling anxiety, if you're feeling the overwhelm right now, my friend, you are not alone. I'm right there with you. A lot of my Feel Good Social Clubbers are feeling the same way. And so let's all just take a deep breath and let's go ahead and listen to these 3 things that we can release that I'm going to be sharing in today's episode. And let's just love each other and move forward in a way that is centered on who we are and what we need right now, right? Okay, let's go ahead and dive right into this mini-sode today. Hey friend, and welcome to the Feel Good Social Podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and I'm here to help you market your business in a genuine way that works without wasting your precious time. On this show, we chat about social media strategy and mindset tips with a focus on, you guessed it, feeling good. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some genuine conversation for the good of your biz. Okay, so before I dive into these 3 things that you can release if Instagram is causing you anxiety right now, I just want to remind you that if this episode is helpful, if this is something that you needed to hear this week, if you have biz buddies who are also feeling stressed out, who are feeling the anxiety of the world and social media and all of those different things, who could also use to listen to this episode, make sure you send it to those biz buddies who could also use to hear it. And also, if you want to, go ahead and share this to your Instagram stories and make sure that you tag me at FeelGoodSocial so that I can see it and reshare it. But I do think that this episode is something that a lot of people probably need to be hearing right now, right? If you're feeling anxiety and all that stuff. So don't forget to share it with the people in your life who this could also be helpful for. Okay, so when it comes to Instagram anxiety, there are 3 main things that at least I usually see with my clients and I feel myself that cause me anxiety that I need to release in order to feel like I have breathing room, right? So these 3 things I'm about to be sharing, remember that these are usually the triggers for your anxiety that you can release, that you actually have control over, right? There are so many things on Instagram that we don't have control over. And possibly, if you are struggling and the posts that you are consuming, if your consumption is causing you anxiety right now, then, well, I guess we could release consumption too. I really didn't think about that before. I started recording. But this is where we might need to implement boundaries, right? So if you've been consuming a lot of the hard news online, dealing with misinformation, propaganda, or even just like the real actual news that's really, really difficult to swallow and makes you feel a certain way, right? Then maybe it's something that you need to implement boundaries around, and that's completely okay. This is actually a conversation I just had with my Feel Good Social Clubbers in our morning workshop this morning, is that there is always, always, always going to be bad things happening in the world. And with social media, with the internet, we could constantly consume awful, awful stuff that depresses us, that angers us, that just makes us feel super, super sad. We could do that 24 hours a day if we wanted to, right? No matter what's going on in the world, there's always bad things happening, right? And so I think it's really on ourselves sometimes to set boundaries with our consumption of the news and of social media, right? So if you are feeling anxiety around what you are consuming online, give yourself a freaking break, okay? I'm not saying that you need to stop consuming this bad stuff. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to feel sad about what's going on with the world. We don't want to not feel sad about this stuff, right? But we need to limit our consumption to give ourselves a chance to process the emotions that all of the news articles online make us feel, right? So instead of constantly scrolling through social media and all that different stuff, give yourself a break every day. Really, now is a very important time to implement boundaries when it comes to your scrolling habits. Now is a very, very important time to make sure that you are equalizing your consumption of hard, sad, anger-inducing things with your consumption of things that make you feel a little bit lighter and that bring you more joy, right? So really, really think about your habits when it comes to social media right now and make sure that you are implementing boundaries and that you are intentionally equalizing your consumption habits, because it's really, really easy to get sucked down into that hole of the horrible, horrible things. And we do need to be aware of them. We do need to address them if that feels like what you need to do right now. But at the same time, you need to take responsibility for how you are consuming content and make sure that you're giving yourself enough joy along with the hard things, right? So I guess that's a little tangent that I went off on that we needed to start with. That's actually not even one of the things that I thought we should release in a way, right? But boundaries and habits are super, super important for Instagram anxiety. Okay, so now on to the 3 things that we actually do need to release. The first one is urgency. If you ever find yourself scrambling because you think, oh my gosh, I need to post today, or if you feel like you always need to be quote unquote on call to respond to potential DMs super quickly or anything like that, you can release that shit, my friend, okay? We need to take the urgency, the pressure that we put on ourselves to be immediately posting or immediately responding to DMs or all that stuff. We need to release that. We need to let it go because it is not very important. Okay. If you're scrambling to create a post because you have to post today, because you want to post daily on Instagram and all that different stuff, and it's 9:00 at night and you're trying to type up this caption and get it out because you need to make your deadline that you set for yourself today. No, it doesn't matter. You can post that tomorrow, friend, and then you'll actually be ahead of the game instead of feeling like you're scrambling to catch up. Same thing going with DMs, messages on Instagram, Facebook, wherever, text messages. I've even applied this to emails myself. I'm a terrible responder to emails, let's be honest. We don't need to always be on call, okay? This is once again where boundaries come in. Nothing is really that important. You can post the post tomorrow, or you can respond to someone's message tomorrow. It's not that important. And it's okay to set those boundaries. Okay. So let go of urgency anytime. I can feel it in my body, right? Whenever I'm starting to feel urgency, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm scrambling to do this. I'm scrambling. They need this now. I can feel urgency coming up in my body, that feeling. Whenever I start to feel that way, I'm just like, Kins, calm down. Take a deep breath. Let it go. It can happen tomorrow. It's not that important. And you'll be fine. It's fine. The world is not going to go down in a fiery ball of flames because I didn't answer this person's DM in 1 minute. The second thing that you can let go of, that you can control when it comes to social media as a business owner, is perfection. And this is easier said than done. I think personally it gets better with practice. But seriously, like if you think you can only post the prettiest photos and the coolest graphics online every day, and you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to be super, super professional looking and always just post the most awesome thing, every post has to be the perfect post. No, you can release that shit, my friend. Okay. Actually, like, let's be honest, in reality, and I know you've heard someone say this before to you, nobody is frickin' perfect. And yet, like, people say that all the time. No one's perfect. And yet we still think we need to be perfect all the time. We're like, oh yeah, no one is perfect, but that doesn't apply to me. But I'm still gonna, or maybe you're saying it, nobody's perfect, but then you're still gonna put the pressure on yourself to be perfect, even if you don't put it to words, right? Perfectionists, I feel you, and I'm speaking to you because I have been there, my friend. No one is perfect though. It's the reality of the situation, right? Something else that I want you to think about too is, what is my idea of perfect? Right? This is something that I've talked about with my mindset coach quite often. Honestly, is like, I think that my idea of perfection, without, like, I don't have a literal definition of perfection that I like literally write out, right? But when I started thinking about perfection, I was like, I'm not a perfectionist. Like, I don't care about showing up as like shiny all the time. Like, I show up, with like my hair all messy and stuff like that. But I started realizing I have an idea of perfection, a belief about perfection for me, myself, right? So sometimes I think that I force myself to show up as like, bubbly and happy or shiny, or like not shiny, but like my version of shiny. Right? Like, I'm not necessarily a put together person. I don't wear like, pencil skirts and stuff like that every day. But I do have this ideal version of Kinsey and showing up for Feel Good Social. And I always strive to show up as that ideal version of me for Feel Good Social. And I can't always make that happen. Right? And that is perfectionism, right? So that's something I want you to think about too when it comes to perfectionism, is what is my ideal version of me, of myself, of my business? Like, maybe it's not quote unquote what society thinks perfect is, but what is your ideal version of it? And you don't always have to show up that way, my friend. Okay. You can let it go. It's okay if you put out an imperfect post. It's okay if you put out a boring post even every once in a while, right? Like, it's fine. You can show up in your PJs. You can show up however the heck you want. Like, let go of perfectionism. No one can be perfect all the time. And when you can release that, your anxiety when it comes to showing up on social media, just let out that breath, my friend. Just accept yourself, who you are. Like, show up whoever you are right now. And that's okay. And it's enough. And actually, if you do that, if you're just real online, then your audience will love you even more because they'll be able to relate to you more. They'll trust you more. And they'll probably want to support you more because you'll drive deeper connection with them and they'll feel closer to you. Okay. So first thing, let go. Well, I guess set boundaries first thing. That's like the precursor to these things to let go of. Then we have let go of urgency, the scramble, nothing's that important. Then we have let go of perfectionism. No one's showing up as perfect all the time. People do try to show up as perfect all the time, but like, it makes it so much better when you don't, when you can release the pressure that you put on yourself to be that way. And it actually is so much better, right? Okay, the third thing you can release today when it comes to Instagram anxiety are the shoulds. And this, once again, is probably not blowing your mind, but if you're anything, if I know you at all, you probably do follow several people online who can help you figure out how to create your business in the best way, how to market your business in the best way, all those different things, right? You probably follow several social media managers online that are like, you should do this or you should do that. You should post a reel a day. It's not that hard. Like, I'm thinking of one Instagram person in particular, and I do really love him, but at the same time, like, I'm just like, dude, come on. But like any of the shoulds that you hear people saying online, any of the shoulds that you put on yourself, right? Once again, we are usually our own worst enemy. So like I am always being like, oh, Kinsey, you should be doing this, or you should be I'm doing it to myself, right? Like most of us are. So anytime you feel like you should be doing something or you're not doing something right, or you could be doing something better, right? And you're putting this dumb pressure, judgment on yourself because, you're not doing everything you should be doing. Release that shit, okay? Like literally, you cannot expect to do it all when you're wearing all the hats in your business and also trying to deal with your personal life and all the shit going on in the world at the same time. Like, no, it's a lot, my friend. And so whatever you can do, however you can do it, is enough. Release the shoulds. Put a little pin in something that you would love to do, but like you don't have time to do right now. Let it go. Be like, okay, I don't have time to post reels right now. I'm trying to do all this other stuff and deal with all this other stuff. Would I love to start posting reels? Yes. So maybe you come back around to reels in April when you have more time. When like you're not going through a season of busy in your business, when you're not going through like stress behind the scenes personally or emotionally or anything like that. Anything that you're saying you should be doing right now that you're being hard on yourself because you're not doing it, just put a pin in it. Like, well, okay, first think like, is this something that I actually want to be doing? Or is this something that I'm hearing people say I should be doing, but really I do not want to do that at all, right? If it's something that you don't want to do at all, whatever, throw it away. It's fine. But if it is something that you do want to do eventually, but you seriously can't right now, then you can't right now. Okay. So put a pin in it. Come back around to it in the future, release the priority, release that task on your to-do list right now because it's not necessary. So those are the 3 things that you can let go of: urgency, perfection, and all of the shoulds that you're putting pressure on yourself. And also, if you're feeling anxiety from consumption, make sure that you are really, really trying hard to set those boundaries and implement intentional, healthy habits. Because my friend, if you are feeling anxiety, I feel you. Man, I feel anxiety from Instagram every day. I swear. Like, what are we, like 3 or 4 or 5 years into social media marketing at this point? For me, I still feel Instagram anxiety and I still feel it coming on. And it's something that like it happens. It's real, And so what we can do is be aware of what is causing us anxiety and do what we can to navigate our anxiety, to calm our anxiety, to shift our anxiety, all those things, right? Awareness, and then taking intentional action to try to release things or navigate things in a healthier way, right? Okay, my friend, I hope that this episode was super, super helpful for you. I'm sending you so much love. If you're feeling Instagram anxiety, like I said, if you're feeling worldly anxiety, I feel you so hard. You're not alone. I'm right there with you. A bunch of my Feel Good Social Clubbers are feeling you as well. And so I'm sending you so much love. And if you would want to connect with me on Instagram at Feel Good Social, I would love to connect with you. If you ever need just a hug or anything like that, I am trying to use Instagram in a joyful way and in a loving way, and hopefully be a little corner of the internet where people can just relax these days, right? So reach out to me in the Instagram DMs. I'm at Feel Good Social. I would love to connect with you, my friend. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will catch you next Tuesday. I'm sharing a behind the scenes exclusive replay of this month's content planning workshop to help you brainstorm content ideas. So I hope that I see ya then. Thanks so much for listening, my friend. For show notes and a whole lot of other awesome freebies, visit feelgoodsocial.com. Simply go to feelgoodsocial.com for all the goods.